Broadcasting live from the Business Radio X studios in Phoenix, Arizona, it's time for Phoenix Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Welcome to Phoenix Business Radio, broadcasting live from the Business Radio X studio inside Max 6 Workspace and the Conscious Capitalism Arizona headquarters in Tempe, Arizona, where we help build businesses and connect you with the right people. I'm Karen Nowicki, and I'm very excited to have three beautiful professionals in the studio with me today. And Jackie Wheeler, I've had a chance to connect with, long time on social media. And I said to Jackie when we got ready for this segment, bring two people along, two professionals that you love to spend time with and that the world needs to know about. And she's done just that. So let me introduce you to everybody in the studio. We have Jackie Wheeler, owner of JackieStyle Image and Branding Agency, LLC. Hello, friend.
Hello.
Great to have you today.
Great to be here.
It's been a long time coming.
Yes, it has.
Well, I'm thrilled we made it happen. And Nadia Brown, CEO of the Doyenne Agency, LLC.
Hi.
Or Incorporated.
Yes.
I know. Not that it matters to our listeners, but it matters to us, the business owners.
Right.
The Doyenne Agency Incorporated. Nadia, welcome.
Thank you.
And also with us today, Jeanette Knudsen.
Knudsen.
Yes, very good. Interior designer and author with Design for a Lifespan. Welcome.
Thank you.
I am
Glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm really happy to have each of you here today. I love hanging out with great women and great professional women. So let's begin. Just have each of you give an introduction. A lot of times folks come in, I think they expect me to read your bio and do all the accolades. I think that's very appropriate for when we're stepping on stage and then we're going to be a speaker at an event. But if I did that for you today, I'd take away your thunder and it would just be me speaking to the mic, and I don't want to be that person. So Jackie, since you're the one responsible for bringing us together, how about you tell us a little bit about JackieStyle Image and your branding agency?
Okay, great. So JackieStyle Image and Branding Agency is a long time coming. I have been an entrepreneur for 28 years, and I decided to go create this just a few years ago, but it's been a long time coming. And so I help women look amazing in person and online through personal image styling, as well as online coaching and management. So yeah, lots of fun.
I know when we talked and got to know each other not too long ago, you were really talking about how important it is to have that branding, the image piece, the hair, the makeup, the style, the colors, all of that. And oftentimes, professionals will hire somebody for that and then someone separate for this other piece, this
Correct.
Digital marketing and this
Right.
web presence piece.
Yes.
And you've brought it all together so beautifully.
I did. I had this amazing coach and friend who I was
as she puts her hand on Nadia's
Nadia,
shoulder,
right?
and she smiles and blushes.
So I've been doing the two for about, I've been doing the image forever. So that's been my forever thing. And I was doing the social media for the last, now I think it's about 8 years. And I couldn't figure out how to marry the two together. And I kept thinking, well, because image is my heart, I kept thinking, well, I need to give up the social media, but I was having so much fun with it. I was being effective in that area. And I sat down with Nadia and I'm like, I don't know. I think I just need to give that piece up. And she's like, no, girl, I can totally see. So we talked it through, and it just really makes sense that the consistency in having a personal image and how you show up in person, how you show up, whether it's speaking or you're at writing a book signing or a networking event or however, showing up in person is just as important as how all your social media is being put together. And if it doesn't match or it's not congruent, then people don't always have that trust for you. There's a trust that's lost. It's in that consistency. So I'm like, okay, I found you online. I met you in person, but it doesn't match.
There's a disconnect. There's nothing worse than that.
Right? And then, or I've met you in person and I went to go check out all your social media and it doesn't make sense, or you don't have it. So a lot of people will forget one or the other, and they forget how both of them are so important for marketing and for integrity and all of those things, and connection and consistency.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that Nadia was your coach.
Yeah, well, she doesn't like to be called that. She's just a very, very good friend who tells me what to do.
Right. So if you're listening, go ahead and strike. It's like in the court system. Strike that, the coach. But clearly, you bring a lot of value. So I would love, Nadia, if you would introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you really are, and then clean up what Jackie said. No, just kidding.
Yes, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Nadia, and I am the founder of the Doyenne Agency, and we are a sales agency where we provide outsourced sales support as well as sales training for women business owners. One of the things that I realized several years ago when I first started my business was that while I was very passionate about what I did, I sucked at sales, and it had a very detrimental impact on my business. And so over the years, I learned how to reverse that, how to shift it, and I actually fell in love with sales. So 2 years ago, I had my own Nadia, if you will, in my ear, like, hey, you should do this. I shifted my business and I launched the agency. So what we do is some of our clients, we are their sales team. We do all of their sales for them. Others, we train them on how to have sales conversations that are authentic and effective for them. And last year, we helped our clients generate over $1.3 million. So
wow,
it was
in 2
really
years,
exciting.
in 1 year, but in 2 years of really, putting your flag in the ground and saying, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Is there a particular vertical or industry that you really, is coming to you a lot, or do you leave yourself open for a variety?
Right now, we're focused on service-based businesses. We support a lot of coaches and consultants, but we also support some smaller boutique businesses that may not be online.
And did I understand you to say that mainly women? Is that kind of your wheelhouse?
Mainly women. Yep.
Yeah,
I love women.
Good. Yeah, me too. Wow, fun. Okay, so Jeanette, tell us about you. And not only are you an interior designer, but also an author. So let's hear about both those great things.
Alrighty. So interior design is a second career for me. So I re-careered at 45. I fell in love with interior design way back, first time around in school. But I was too far into the degree and decided, no. So it's something that I continued to use throughout my adult life. And then things are getting kind of iffy at home. So I needed to do something to get my mind off of the issues that we were facing. So banking was like, that's what I did for 19 years. Wow. So I went back to school and I studied interior design, but I wanted to make sure that it was more than just the decorating and the aesthetic side. So while I was in school, I was watching the dynamics change between my parents and my grandparents, and design for aging, which is actually known as aging in place, and universal design was just coming onto the scene. So I thought, oh my gosh, this is where my heart lies. It's really important to me to do a type of design that makes a difference in people's lives. So I went ahead and specialized in universal design and aging in place. And we were in the process of fixing my grandmother's home for her. And she ended up falling and breaking her pelvis in multiple locations. So that's where my heart lies, is to be able to help people stay in their homes.
So universal design, and what was the other term that you used?
It's called aging in place, but in my book, I refer to it as design for aging.
Yeah. So I'm going to be really just basic here. What you're saying is you're helping your clients with their forever home and keeping it beautiful and light, but also functional so that as they age,
yes.
They're safe.
Yes. So I have trademarked the term toe tag homes, which is basic.
Oh, what a fun and somewhat edgy name. So for our listeners, if you didn't hear that right, toe tag homes.
Toe tag homes. My husband thinks it is horrible, but it's basically what I do. It gives my clients the freedom to make the decision that they live it in their home for as long as they can. But it's designed for them so that they have that choice. It's easy to use, it's functional, it's safe, it's comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It speaks volumes about what you're doing, and it kind of abruptly slaps me in the face with that term, right? Which I think is sometimes, depending on the business, what marketing and branding is supposed to do, right? I'm looking at two people nodding their heads, yes, because they are certainly more expert than me. And with something, it's one of those topics we don't want to talk about, right? Anytime
Correct.
We have a financial advisor in to talk about estate planning and that sort of thing, or any of that stuff, it's just conversations that we don't want to have. So
Exactly.
How cool that you've tagged that term, and it's just like bam.
Yes.
Yeah. What do either of you have to say about that? Is it edgy? What is your gut reaction? Clearly, you've heard of it before.
Oh yeah. So we've talked about it a lot in our consultations and whatnot. And I think she has just made an amazing grab for attention. And it really makes people stop and think, go, wait, what did you say? And really have that opportunity to create that conversation that is hard to have.
Yeah.
And so I love it. So I think she's done a great job with that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I also think that, when I hear that, when you talk about it, and as I learn more about what you do, Jeanette, one of the things that I thought about was when my grandmother was living. And one of the things that she was adamant about, to the point where she made me promise her that I would not allow my family to put her in a nursing home.
That was my grandmother.
And she literally died at home.
Yeah.
But that also presented some unique challenges that the family had to now address, because as she aged, her home was no longer, it wasn't initially designed for the challenges that she had. So I love that you're that person that's forward thinking, especially living here in Arizona.
Yeah,
so that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the book. Who's the book for, and what are you covering? What are you focusing on?
Well, the name of the book is Design Your Retirement Lifestyle. Hold on.
Yeah. It's always that,
I know. It's
the tagline that makes it a stretch.
So it's Design Your Retirement Lifestyle, How to Make Your Money Last as You Age in Place.
Okay. So you're really, do you mind if I see that?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful book.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually my copywriter and I did the book. So we married what I'm passionate about and what she's passionate about. And we came up with this book on how people can have the freedom of choice of where they live and how they live and for how long they live.
Oh my gosh, this is so beautifully done.
Thank you.
Retirement trends and what they mean to you, steps to take and how to get started, design tips, remodel projects. So I'm thinking of my dad and I just got chills all the way from the tips of my toes to the top of my head. My dad is 80. He's lived in Tempe since 1979 when we first moved to Arizona. He's in great shape, mentally, physically, and we're watching some changes, right? And I'm the second out of 4 kiddos, and I'm not the one to have these conversations. We all have our place in our families. Right. That's not my job.
That goes to the older sibling, right?
Right. Yes. And not an easy job.
No.
And our home, my dad's home is the home we all grew up in from, for me, it was middle school on, my 2 young brothers, elementary school on. And it's a lot of house for him and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And a pool and the yard. And it's kind of become somewhat of a fortress, and he doesn't let anybody in or out anymore. Right. And it still has the 70s look to it. Again, I love my dad, love that home. Yep. But to be real and to talk about how this is so needed. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at page 33, chapter 9, Coming Home, How to Ramp It Up. Great little title there. And then you see this beautiful picture, this drawing of a threshold ramp. Mm-hmm. And while my dad doesn't need one right now, who's to say there wouldn't be a time with an injury or something that's more permanent that he would need it. And so here you are giving tips on how to make those alternative arrangements. Right. And that's just one page.
Yep.
Wow.
It's full of a lot of good information.
Well, Jeanette's, like Patrick and I are way not close to retirement or any of those things, but we bought a house and it has one of those step downs. It's just one little tiny step down into the living room. And after long conversations over and over with Jeanette over the last years, I was like, honey, I think that we need to take that out. And he's like, why? It's cool. And I'm like, you don't understand. Both my dad and my grandfather have come here and almost fallen off of that. If we're planning on staying here for as long as we plan, this is not a good idea. So he just thought I was crazy, but I've been having conversations with Jeanette and I'm like, oh, I'm paying attention to all these things and look at what she's showing me. And oh man, I want to now put concrete in there.
And what a great point too, though, for those of us who are now caring for our parents, whether they're living with us or they are with us frequently.
Right.
Then we've got to also think about our homes and how are they adaptable for the people that we love that are going to be with us frequently or full time.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, and even if it's kind of just even that thought process of if we're staying here and we can afford it or we can think about those things now, then let's think about what actions we can take that we can do now versus having to wait all of a sudden we're 80 years old. We've we're fragile,
You're in a crisis situation.
And we're in a crisis situation, and now we have to figure it out, but we don't have that opportunity to make the longer decision or to put it in a financial way, in a different way.
Right. And that's why I see this as freedom, because when you plan ahead, then you have the freedom to choose how you want to live out the rest of your years. And the only reason why this all makes sense to me is because I have watched it happen.
Yeah.
And it was heartbreaking to see somebody just like your grandmother go, promise me, do not put me in a nursing home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to see that happen again to anybody else. Sometimes, and it's like what you said, it's like talking to brick walls. People look at you like, I don't care about this. I don't care. I had a conversation with my older son, who is an electrical engineer. He's doing very, very well. And when I got into this field, he said to me, he goes, Mom, why would I care about this type of design? He goes, look at me and all my friends were up and coming. And I thought, John, that's really a good question. So let me ask you this. If something happened to your dad and I couldn't stay at my home and I needed to come stay with you, would that be okay? And he went, oh, hell no. And I went, well, there you go. That's why you and all your friends should be interested in this type of design.
Making sure that you, as a mom, have a safe place to stay. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, because he's thinking, I don't care about this kind of design.
So just even it doesn't
apply to me.
But if there were a situation where he needed to be taking care of you and welcome you into his home or whatever it is, now it matters.
Yes.
And now it's that crisis you spoke to a few seconds ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I think the younger generation needs to know about it.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to slap them upside the head.
Yeah. And so where do we find the book? Where are you selling the book?
Well, I actually have copies of the books that's available that are printed. Plus, it can also be purchased online on Amazon and as a hard copy or as an ebook.
Okay.
So it's available out there.
Very good. And are you doing any speaking? Like, tell me a little bit about how you're finding your clients. This is Business Radio X, right? So a lot of our listeners are business C-level professionals. Who can we help make introductions to for you?
Actually, my co-author and I are trying to find places that we can do presentations that offers this information so that people can think about, their future and having the freedom to make choices. So we are scheduled to present at Mesa Community College in the adult, the senior adult section.
Yeah.
So that's where we're trying to get in. So we have that. And, any business that wants education in this type of area, we're geared up and ready to go.
Yeah. So. I mentioned financial planners, right? Those who do the estate planning would be great folks to connect with.
Absolutely.
Because they certainly are having a portion of that conversation. And again, we hope that they're having it early enough with their clients.
Right. Lawyers that do estate planning, doctors that are, dealing in the elderly population.
Well, what about real estate agents, like educating them, having them become ready for having those helping those their clients have those conversations?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had, and I'm going to forget the name of the company right now. They were on the first year I had the studio open. They're a moving company, and they're one of those unique moving companies that really take tender care of those. And most typically, it's folks downsizing.
Yeah,
and they would need to have someone like you kind of in their team and in their sphere because of they're working with the very same clientele. So
yes,
I'm apologizing. I know Derek is the owner of the company, but I can't remember the name of the company itself. So I'll look that up and I'll get you guys connected.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so wow, fascinating. And this is a second act for you.
It is a second act.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And you said banking previously.
Yeah. Well, my first degree is in administration of justice, which is police science. And I got halfway through it and went, oh, heck no. This is not what I want to do. But I'm not a quitter. So I finished and I took the interior design class as a fun class. Oh, let me tell you. It was the hardest class I took. But it was the one class that I used in my adult life.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So I thought if I finish my degree, I might have the opportunity to go back to school. And I didn't know what I want to study. But as the years went on, it was like, I kept going back to the design. It was like, yeah, that's where I want to be.
Love it. And I'm sorry, how many years have you been doing the design work then?
I opened my firm in 2009.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're over that threshold.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Very good. Yeah. So Nadia, tell us a little bit more about your business. What's one thing about sales that most people would be surprised to learn?
That is easy.
That it's easy? Yeah. I'm gonna challenge you on that. I was just talking to somebody. My trainer is right below the studio, and I saw him in the parking lot. You walked past us, and I was standing next to a man in a truck, and we were talking about the challenge of sales for me personally, right? That's how I earn an income. Business owners come and we produce their shows for them and we create a winning show. And I love what we do. I know we absolutely make a difference. There's no issue with that. It's just the ask. Yeah. And that next level of conversation to find out if there's an opportunity to work together. And I make it this big, gnarly, hairy, crazy thing. But you're going to tell me it's easy.
Well, it can be.
Yeah.
So, I get it because I was the same way. And it was like, and that was one of the things that I learned, especially with doing sales and the type of work I do now is it's like this. It's like having a conversation, but you have the structure in that we are having a conversation for a purpose. And then making sure you have your systems and processes in place for follow-up because not everyone says yes the first time. So then what does that look like and how do you build that relationship to move them to a yes? I think sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves when we think sales so that we get tongue-tied, we start sweating, we get nervous. Yes. It's all weird. Right. So it's like if you just take that out of the equation, knowing, so I support clients with that and really creating a structure that feels comfortable yet is effective because like you said, as business owners, we need to create, we need to create revenue.
Right. Well, without it, it's not a business.
Right. It's just a very expensive hobby.
Right. It's funny. I did a segment with Allie Craig. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She does a Brandpreneur TV on Roku and Apple and blah, blah, blah. And the segment we recorded, I think back in March, and it just came out yesterday, the day before. And so I watched it nervously because even an interview like that, and even today, right, this is an opportunity for you to share who you are. And so there's got to be that. You have to be of presence mind to know who you're speaking to. Otherwise, you're not speaking to anybody. And so I'm watching it. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I got through it. But there was one question that she'd asked me, and it was my opportunity to speak to who my clients are. I failed miserably. And I woke up the next day after watching, and the first thing on my mind was, you had one job. You know that little phrase? You had one job. And the only thing that came out of my mouth when I was talking about who I appeal to and who I work with, I said auto mechanic because my husband's a mechanic. And then I got stuck. I don't really have auto mechanics as my clients. It's, it's attorneys, it's doctors, it's large businesses and corporations. And I just got stuck. So all this to say, when it comes to sales and or really just sharing who we are in business and what we're doing with people that may not already know us, how important is it to practice and be prepared for those conversations?
Oh, it's really important. Like you said, also, and just keeping it top of mind, lasering in. I think sometimes as business owners, because a lot of us can serve a lot of different people, it's easy to kind of leave it really broad. And so I encourage clients to pick, be laser focused, and especially something that you can remember when you get nervous and your mind goes completely blank.
Which is exactly what happened. I went, so, like auto mechanics. And then Allie said something and filled in the blank. And I was like, wow, I really, really bombed that. The rest of the segment was decent. You'll have to go back and listen and give me a winky face when you see it. So you mentioned that you work with authors and speakers and women. And so there's this element of what I remember in speaking engagements, kind of the back of the room sales. Are you an advocate for that? So I go out there and I've got, my 150 or even a smaller group of 20, and I share my content, and then I invite people to the back of the room to do my sales for me. How does that fit in for what you teach?
A lot of my clients leverage that as a tool to grow their businesses, and they also can hire our team to support them at the back of the room. One of the things that I really like is in person because it allows you to get that eyeball to eyeball time. It really is a great opportunity to build connection. I think sometimes we spend so much time online that we get nervous about being in the same room with other humans. It's like, no, it's actually a way to expedite and shorten your sales cycle when done correctly.
Because on that end, on the receiving end, I'm going to know whether or not I want to work with you, right? When I get, and hopefully if we're doing our job right, which is why you're helping these business owners, then you come into my sphere, I'm listening to you speak, I'll know, yeah, she's for me or she's not.
Yep.
Right.
Done right.
Yes.
Done right.
Done right. Because there's also, and if you've ever been to some of these events where you almost feel like you've just been through the ringer, where, there's a lot of psychological and,
crap.
manipulative. Yes. Crap.
I've sat through many, many of those.
Yes. And so, and people after a while, it's like, another one of these pitch fests. Oh my gosh, I don't want to go. So that's why I say when done right, it's a great way to build connection, because the truth is some people are just getting to know you. That may be the first time that they have met you and they're sitting in that event. So that's like the beginning of the relationship. For others, they've been following you for a while and this is their first time to actually be in the same room with you, but they are aware and they're really excited. So you have to understand, and that's the same process for the sales cycle. Not everyone is going to say yes at the same time. Hence the reason why it's a sales cycle. So you want to continue to have those different touch points so you can build relationships.
And by sales cycle, do you also mean that there's different entry points? So someone might sit there and meet me for the first time and go, yeah, I want to sign up for whatever the longest term relationship I can have with that person.
Definitely.
And others might, I kind of just want these little webinars or whatever. I'm kind of making things up, but different points of entry in the sale. And so you help business owners and entrepreneurs craft those points of entry and how to have that conversation.
Yes, she does. And how to do that, how to support. And one great example is a client that does an annual event. She did an event 2017 when we first started working together. One of the women that attended this event took it what I like to call a baby step. So she did invest in one of the shorter term, lower investment programs. 2 years later, she sends me a text and she says, Dr. Nadia, I'm ready for a bigger program. 2 years. So you have to continue that relationship and not just throw the baby out with the bathwater when you don't see everyone with the mad rush to the back of the room. Like there's strategy in how to structure your event, how to build those relationships, and how to continue to nurture them.
Jackie, you were going to share something too. Do you still have it on top of mind as it relates to what we're talking about?
I do. So I've worked with Nadia on her sales with some of these things, and I love how she makes it so personal for you. So it's not here's the script and here's how's everyone else is doing it. And this is how every single one of my clients is going to do it. And this is how it happens every time. She really looks at each individual business and each individual person that's in place and says, okay, for you and your business and your target market and all that you have to offer and the things that you have available to you now, here's the best way for you to do it. And let's talk about, okay, where is that? And I love that. And it has helped so much. And it's given me so much more. I mean, I've been in sales, I do sales. I've been doing it for however long I've been doing it. And, it just really made sense to me. And again, that laser focus and okay, that's that person, but where are they and how do we speak to them? But it not only helped me in the sales process, but also in helping my clients understand all of that for themselves as well. And so I've been able to take and plop it into, sort of into my business, not in this sales kind of sense, but just really to help them focus on their things as well. So I've just taken so much from the knowledge and amazingness that is the Dr. Nadia. And so anyway, that's what I was going to say.
And branding, messaging,
all of that.
Style, all of that is a part of who we are to the world. So of course it would make sense that you're also somewhat coaching and guiding your clients so that everything is coming, down the same pike on their behalf so that their business can sustain and grow and thrive.
Definitely.
Yeah. We've talked a little bit about events as it relates to your sales training and participation and folks hiring your staff for those backroom sales. Outside of working with business owners, women who do events, how else are you working with them to help with their sales?
So, as I mentioned, we do have some clients where we are their sales team.
Okay, you did say that.
So we deal all their sales, whether it's on the phone, in-person events.
Okay, that's what I was missing. So in person, but also on phone. The phone.
A lot of times, if I'm not on a plane, I'm on the phone closing deals. So that's kind of how we work.
Very good. And so not just here in Arizona.
No.
Yeah,
we're all over the country.
Wow. Fascinating. What changes have you seen in the industry for niche marketplace when it comes to sales? Or, the speakers, the coaches, the boutique businesses. What are you noticing that's different?
I'm really noticing a big focus on relationship. You're also dealing with more skeptical buyers these days.
You kind of alluded to that. Like, I don't want to go to another pitch fest.
Right.
I'm not going to even go.
We're starting to see that focus on relationship, and people really want to know that you are who you say you are. So they're taking sometimes longer to make those buying decisions.
Which is, again, why we need a sales cycle.
Right.
Okay, now I'm on the same page.
Mm-hmm. And if you're not making those adjustments in your business or you're not prepared for it, then it could obviously have some financial repercussions because now you're not seeing the revenue at the same speed that you were before. Mm-hmm. And so we're helping work with clients and what types of strategies really work well for a relationship to continue that, whether it's online or offline. So for example, we send stuff in the mail. Like how many times do you get stuff snail mail from someone that you're interested in and following, up on, and what does that look like? And it doesn't have to be expensive, but what really works for your target market? What are some different strategies where you can have maybe coffee chats with potential buyers in a room and make it, very conversational, where it gives you an opportunity to share about you, but also learn more about them and what are their challenges. And so there's a big focus on relationship. And we're definitely seeing where in a lot of cases before where you could have a shorter sales cycle, you could throw up something real quick on social media or video and get that. It's not necessarily, you're starting to see that elongate.
Yeah. So does your team then help put all those pieces in place and do some of the copywriting for it as well? And
we advise on copywriting. We can support, but one of our big focus is where areas we really focus on is relationship management. So once the team is in place and we're starting to build that relationship, I get to know you. I know Karen. I'm calling to check up on Karen. Or if I know Karen's birthday, I send her a birthday card or, those types of things. So we're not just looking at that initial contact. We just had a single call and you said no, then we're done with you. Like, no, this is a person. And we want to show and demonstrate that we value you as a person and we would love the opportunity to work with you.
Fantastic. What do you hear from your clients after they've had an opportunity to work with you for a period of time? What's one of the greatest compliments that someone could give you, or the aha, wow, Dr. Nadia made a huge difference for us?
Oh my gosh. Well, one, referrals are always great. That's a big compliment. But I think one business owner, it was funny, she was messaging me earlier this morning. When we first started working together 2 years ago, she was just shy of $100,000 in annual revenue. This year, we're on track to hit $500,000. Like that is amazing work.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So that's a huge pat on the back. And I am so excited to see my clients succeed. So that makes me sleep well at night. And I'm like telling my husband, I love what I do. I make my clients a lot of money.
Yeah. So cool. And in turn, it means that you have an opportunity to thrive and help more people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very good. So your team has a lot of sales conversations, right?
Oh,
and our teams ought to be having those. What's one thing that you've learned about talking with prospective clients and customers that you wish more business owners understood?
We need to listen a whole lot more. One of the biggest compliments I've gotten from someone that said no was that they felt heard. That, just by having a sales conversation with me, that they felt heard and they knew that I actually listened to what they had to say.
And they said no.
And they still said no.
But reputation management is important as well, right? Depending on the industry and how that group of people work together. Even though it's a no, they likely would have been an advocate. I don't know if it was for your own business or for somebody else's, but they're going to walk away going, wow, I've got a great feeling about you.
Yeah. And that's so important. And I think sometimes that's one thing I wish business owners would understand is it's not just that single conversation. Just because they said no now, like I mentioned, the woman 2 years later, I've seen where people have come back maybe 90 days later or, whatever that time frame is. And sometimes they pay more when they come back. So it's not even about the price, but that relationship and that they trust you and they know that when the time is right for them, then they'll say yes and they'll move forward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Love it. Now tell me again, Jackie and Jeanette, how the two of you met.
We met networking.
Very good. Okay.
At a aging facility.
Which was really funny because I had been recommended to go there. I hadn't gotten laser focused yet. And I was like, okay, I'll show up. I think I only went like once or twice. And I met Jeanette. And I think that was the sole purpose for me actually being at that event. And when you meet somebody, you're like, man, I need to know her. And and I do that a lot because there's regardless of whether people do business with me or not, it's that I love those connections. And so I had like this connection with Jeanette and I was like, I need to go coffee with you. Can we just chat? I mean, like, I like you. Can we so we did that for a long time. We just got together and chatted and really built a friendship.
Friendship over the years. Yeah. And I felt that connection. It was so great to be, and I was surprised. It was like, okay, well, what she has to say makes a lot of sense, that we present herself well. And especially being, business women. And I thought, she is in a good spot. This is a good place for her to be. And then we just kind of connected and just continued the connection over the years. And it's a great, I love spending time with Jackie.
How important is it for us to have friends who are in business, women friends who are in business?
Oh man. I wouldn't make it if I didn't have my women friends in business.
Yeah. My high school friends and my neighborhood friends, not all of them are in business for themselves. In fact, most of them are not.
Right.
And I don't think they always understand my level of energy, my joy and love in what I do outside of raising my family and, being home and being friendship. So when I can connect with women like you, I know that you're my tribe. You're speaking my language. You have the same dreams and desires, and are ready for that next thing, right? And hungry for it,
right?
And eager to learn.
Totally.
Yeah, that I think that for me is what makes it so important.
Yeah. Patrick laughs at me. He's like, "You're doing another coffee." I'm like, "I don't think you understand how it keeps me going." Because I have a home-based business, and that's beautiful, and I do see my clients in their closets and stuff. But having those connections with my clients, but also with just people I just think are amazing. I want to just have those connections so I can keep going, so that I can have like, you read that book, or, you said something that like inspires me to want to do something different, or that, that's the answer I needed that I didn't know I needed. And I it's so important to me to do that on a consistent basis. It's kind of self-care for me. It sounds really funny because it's very
funny. We're all nodding our heads.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of a self-care opportunity for me ongoingly. And if I don't get that, I love my kids. I love that they're home. Yeah. I love my husband. I love hanging out with him. I love my mom friends, all those things. But there is something so important to me about that business connection, friendships.
Yep.
Yeah, totally.
Let's dig a little deeper into the work that you do with clients. And it makes me think, to start with a story and example, and hope you can play off this. Yesterday was my first day back in the studio after a 2-week vacation. After 2 years having owned the studio, it was my first time to step away, which was phenomenal.
Congratulations.
Wow. Yes.
Huge.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I most of the shows I was able to move to different dates. And I had one steady client that was here. And so I had somebody in the co-work space. I came and trained him how to produce. So I'm walking towards Manhattan in New York. I have an umbrella because it's raining. My daughter, who we just moved there, and my little guy, my 12-year-old, were with me. And I'm watching the clock because I'm looking like I have a watch on my hand. I had a phone. I don't know why I'm doing that. But I'm watching the time on my phone. And I click to listen live because I want to make sure it's going to go off without a hitch. And Jasper, who is my producer and studio ambassador, did a great job. So my son, my 12-year-old, who has 2 entrepreneurial parents, looks at me and goes, "Well, there you go, Mom. Now you can just take more vacations." Which was great because, right, as business owners, we have to be able to step away at some point.
Yeah. Right.
That's really was not my story. My story is yesterday when I was in here, my day of reentry, I had 2 female business owners in, one who I've known like Jackie, and the other one was here for the first time. And when we were leaving, she said to me, "I hope it's okay that I've been staring at you all day. Your hair is beautiful. Your style is really neat. I just love your outfit and your energy and your vibe. And that was really a cool compliment.
Yeah.
And I used to, oh, well, this whole dress or, that whole thing.
Right.
Yeah. But now I've stood in the, hey, thank you. I really take that as a compliment. And I didn't think you were stalking me or, made light of it. But when you're working with women, how important is it for us to really own our style? Let's first talk about, just our physical presence, our makeup, our hair, our clothing. And then I'm sure we can, kind of talk a little bit more about the online presence as well. And I would love for both of you to join in this conversation too. But Jackie, why don't you kick us off? How important is that for us to have a professional presence that really says something about who we are?
It is so important. And I love that you mentioned that the thank you piece, that before it'd be, oh, this little thing, I got it, it's like 10 years old or blah, 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 whatever. That's one of the things that I help my clients step into is, listen, this is who you are. This is the best colors that you can wear. Here's what your style is, who's your body type, your fashion personality. Like, we're going to take all of that plus your branding and talk about what that looks like and how you represent that. But then when you get those compliments, when you get that people notice, that people are like, hey, something has changed, something is different. You're walking into there's a different walk for people. There's their heads held higher. There's just a difference in how they really truly represent themselves when they're really walking in their true fashion and all of those. But I found that one of the things that I've had to continue to do over and over is remind my clients to say, thank you. Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you.
Yep. With a period or an exclamation mark.
Not, thank you. I bought this 10 year. Thank you. I need
my haircut.
Thank you.
I don't have makeup on today. I know all of them.
Right. Thank you. But did you notice my nails? They look terrible.
Right.
Like, okay, you have this whole beautiful image and then you pull that one thing that you feel you're most insecure about. You're going to do that naturally. Like, you're going to think it in your head, but that's when you just say, thank you. Close your mouth. Yeah. Nod, hug the person, whatever it is that you need to do, and own it.
Mm-hmm. And so you help women do this, right? You're not just helping them select clothing and
You would think
style.
I had a psychology degree behind all of my fashion stuff. I don't. But that is something that I've noticed that is just as important for me to help them walk in their brilliance and their beauty and how beautifully and wonderfully they're made right now.
And that statement can be applied to what Dr. Nadia is doing and what Jeanette's doing and what I'm doing, really owning our brilliance and standing in that, right? Whether it's our home and the place we love, to how we're showing up in our conversations to further our brand and our mission, to just simply being in our own, feeling comfortable in our own skin and really owning it. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's been a lot of, it's a really important piece. And I think it's a beginning piece. I don't know, it's kind of a beginning and an end piece. So we have that conversation at the beginning. We work through all the beauty of who they are and figuring out, one of the things that I ask is, what are the top three things that you want to be known? Like, when you walk into a room, what do you want people to think? So we talk about first impression and first impression, like, there's some things that we don't have any control over. So what you're thinking about me when I walk in, there's some things that I just don't have control over, but there are things that I do have control over. So those are the things I want to talk about. Like, what three things do you want to when you walk into a room, you want somebody to think? Then you have taken control of that first impression. And so we talk about that first, and they're like, oh, I don't know. Like, that's a big conversation. Like, well, maybe I want to look, put together. I'm like, okay, but what does put together look like? Like, what does this mean? And so it's a lot of conversation to go behind, digging deep behind that. Mm-hmm. So so I'm going to put myself under the bus here. So one of the things that I've done, so my mommy image is sassy. I have a sassy mommy image. So I don't just show up as like the mom. I'm like, it's the sassy mom. It's the sassy. Never mind. Anyway,
sassy shoes. Do I need to turn off the on-air button for a moment?
Maybe it's sassy, classy, and smart-assy. So that's
this is internet radio. You use far worse words than that.
It's just
I love
funny.
it. That's fun.
I just laugh at that.
And it is you, right? For those of us that know you, it is you.
Those of us that know and love you.
Yeah.
So that my mom is this image I kind of feel like is a sassy, classy, smart-assy. But if I'm going to be showing up, one of the things that I love is I want to have grace, poise, and style. And so I don't always feel like I have those things. Like, I trip over my own feet. I can't remember why I walked into the room, whatever. But I want to, when I come in, to at least do my very, very best to have that grace, poise, and style while I'm walking in, because you need to trust that I can also give you some of those things as well.
And I think one of the things, the statistic that popped in my head was, people make 11 different decisions about you within the first 7 seconds of meeting you.
Wow.
Yeah.
So most of those decisions are made before you even open your mouth.
Right.
So it's not about what you say or how you say it. It's how you look.
How you're being.
Yeah.
Your beingness.
And how you're presenting and your level of confidence, all of that. Those people are making decisions. And like Jackie said, you have no control over that.
Right.
And most of the time, that's before you even get a chance to say hello. They've already started making these different assessments about you. And that's one of the things that Jackie really helps clients, with, and especially your business owners, because if you're not confident in sales, guess what? They're going to fall flat. People by feeling to that confidence that you have. And if you don't have the confidence, neither will they.
Right.
Yeah. Jackie, what would you say to a professional woman who said that, having a stylist and working with someone like you is either a luxury or something that they shouldn't budget for?
Okay. Well, it is an expense, and it is there is a cost. So I'm not going to tell you that it's not going to cost you anything, but think about the things that you're losing from that. My biggest goal is for my clients to walk away and knowing confidently when they walk into their closet that they don't have to worry about decision fatigue, that they can walk out confidently knowing that everything that's in there is absolutely right on for who they are, their style, their image, their brand, their personality, their all of those things. It's on mark, and that they can walk out confidently every time. That brings sales, that brings networking opportunities, that bring the confidence level. So there's so much more that happens into that. So all of that is being wrapped up into an opportunity with a stylist. But on that, I'm saving them time. I'm saving them money. I'm saving them opportunity, just that looking in the closet. Like how many times have you stressed? Like how many times have you stood in front of your closet and said, I have nothing to wear?
Right.
It keeps you from doing that.
Years ago, it did for me. And it really was extremely stressful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those are the things. So I reduce the stress, I reduce time, I reduce money. And then everything that we shop for, that I look at, or that I'll quote that, quote unquote, let you keep in your closet. I don't make anybody do anything, is on target. And that saves so much. The other thing is I actually am a marketing write-off. So if you're a business owner, I'm really technically a marketing write-off. So I'm a business write-off.
Business development, yeah.
Yeah, because it's a part of everything that I do is based upon, especially for your business, is based upon your brand and your image. So it's a marketing write-off too. So there's all these different wonderful pieces to it.
Yeah. And if I'm working with you as you're my stylist, do I also automatically work with you with my social media, or can it be one or the other?
It can be one or the other, or both. So it just really depends on where that client is falling and what their needs are at that particular time. I easily have done in my styling, branding coaching in the closet about social media. But I've also sat down at a, coaching opportunity or a social media conversation and go, well, maybe we need to talk about some style stuff. But it doesn't mean that that's where that's all going to go. The perfect beauty of it all is everything. But I'm happy just making sure that they're getting one or the other taken care of.
Yeah.
So can I share something? So as an example for me today, I almost wore a pink, black, and white dress.
Pink?
I almost. And I stood there and I went, okay, no, I need to wear my colors. And
Pink is not your identified color.
Pink is a good color.
Pink is a great color for her.
But it's not
it's not her branding color.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, okay, now wait, Jackie and branding. No. And I love being in this color. So
it's stunning on you.
Well, thank you. And it was there's no question.
So what a great example, obviously, that you're sharing, because when you've had a chance to work with Jackie and you're making those decisions and going to be, in front of the media or standing in front of a group doing some sort of speaking engagement or networking.
Right.
You
which is stressful in itself. You don't want to have to wear about, what am I going to wear that I look?
But you have Jackie like a Jiminy Cricket on your shoulder going, don't put that on.
I can't tell you how many clients call me and go, you were in the closet with me today. And I'm like, well, good. I am so glad. I want to be with you daily, but I don't want you to call me at 5:30 to ask me what to do.
Do you have any clients like my daughter, although she's the fashionista, not me, but she'll send me pictures of her selfies in the mirror with 3 different outfits or 3 different pairs of shoes. She's looking at
me. Do I do that?
Okay,
we both do.
This is radio. Yeah, they're both raising their hands, looking at her like, yes.
In the dressing room.
And truthfully, I'll send that to my daughter too. And I'm like, does this work? She's like, yeah, no, but this one does.
Right. I have multiple of my clients and friends that send me stuff from their fitting room or even from their closets that are like, hey, I have this, and this. Nadia likes to send it right before she goes on a trip and going, okay, I have to pack all these things. Will this all? And yes.
Yeah.
Do this or this, or make
the
sure
first thing I
that.
said to her when she walked in was, I love your outfit. We both got the black memo, the black and something, white off-white memo today. So I want to talk a little bit about your Passport of Style programs and how that differs from what some other people in the industry are doing with you. But I want to first make sure that we've covered all of what you have to offer around social media and branding and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with social media is such a unique space for everybody. And lots of times we forget. Like we either take it for granted and we kind of do whatever, or we are so obsessed by doing the exact right thing all the time that, again, you forget or you only post every now and then. So there's an importance in that, not only that, again, that we're going to bring back the image for your personal. So the consistency in your personal image, there's importance in the consistency in your online image. So I help my clients figure out some of that branding piece. What does that look like? Is it a color? Is it a saying? Is it a tagline? Is it like, what is that? And then make sure their voice, not my voice, not that person's voice over there, not somebody down the street, their voice is consistent in their social media. So I make sure that their posts and their information and all of that is consistent inside that social media area, and manage that, because I don't know, do you have time? How many of you have time to be hanging out, making sure that you're answering every question or making sure, right?
But somebody needs to, and
someone
it needs to be in your voice.
And right.
So are you and your team, are you the one doing it, or are you just telling them how to do it and setting up schedules? Like, how do people work with you when it comes to that piece of it?
So there's a couple different ways. First, I do, if they're just like, I just got to figure this out and I'm going to do it on my own, Jackie. I don't want to pay you monthly. I just want to do it on my own. Then I just do a quick coaching session. We do a couple of hours. I sit down and like, okay, let's look at what you already have. Let's look at where you're at. What are your goals? And then this is what I'm going to suggest for you. And they walk away with some content. They walk away with some things that they need for a couple months.
I was just going to ask.
Just for
I'm
a
sure
little
they
bit.
come crawling back and say, okay, tried it on my own. You were right. And I don't have the time for it.
Right. Well, I do have one client that they want to do it on their own, but they want my expertise. So we meet on a monthly basis just for coaching, just so that we're like, okay, well here, but it's literally, we only talk about the next few months that they need. We don't talk about a year-long program. We don't talk about all those things. And then there are opportunities just to meet with me, work with me on a monthly basis. So I'm taking care of their social media, their contacts, their content, or whatever it is that they feel. So whatever piece that they feel like they're not strong in or feeling as confident in, then I take that from them. And it just depends. My specialty really is like just the social. I understand digital marketing. I understand SEO. I understand all that stuff.
It's the social media.
But social media,
LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all
LinkedIn,
three.
socials, yep.
Yeah.
And some YouTube. So all of those. So I can just help them manage all of that. And so I have some clients that just send me their their images, because if you're a designer and you're there, so send me the images, and then we talk about what those goals are and that kind of thing. So,
and you make sure they're out there.
Yeah.
So how is your Passport of Style program different than from the box type of mail programs? Tell us a little bit about that program.
Big difference.
Big difference.
Jeanette. Big difference.
So Passport of Style is my answer to a monthly style box, I guess. So I had a lot of clients that are like, I want to work with you monthly. I can't afford to have you in all the time as one-on-one. And then I had like this crazy brainchild of, okay, how do I do that? And I had several people like, oh, you need to have a box. Well, creating a box program is is the way I would want to have it represented is a really expensive thing. And a lot of those box pros might have like 50 stylists and they have already a warehouse of clothes.
Are we talking like some of those, like you order clothing type of thing?
Right.
Is that when you say box?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So they'll have someone at the other, you fill it all out online, do all that stuff. So when they work with me for Passport, it's my answer to the box. So they get their personal stylist. They get me knowing them personally in face-to-face, exactly how things fit. They have that opportunity, and I know their brand. So it's not just like, what are my favorite colors, but I also know the brand. And knowing that this is what
Jeanette ought to be wearing for today's occasion.
Right?
I love it.
Right? Those kind of things. And also that in-person opportunity. So the Passport Style shopping is once a month opportunity to shop. And I do a specific item at a time. Like we're going to focus on the denim jacket next month. So why do we need a denim jacket? I do education on it. We have this small group come together. It's not a big group. It's a small group. We find the perfect denim jacket for the person now.
And lots of other things.
And lots of other things.
Because Jackie's like, ooh, you should get this.
Wow. So are you online shopping? Are you shopping at a
we're
store?
in person.
It's in person.
And it's a small group.
A small group. And so there's fun group dynamics. There's people that get to meet and connect through other ways. There's some networking that happens, but there's a lot of image and shopping and branding that's happening at the same time. And it's just a lot of fun. So that's one of the things. And then my Passport Style, that personal, I have one that's for more personal. It's for those super busy women that are like, oh, that's all well and good. I meet in their closet. I have an opportunity that they send me their schedule at the beginning of the month or a couple weeks before the next month. And I look at their schedule and all that they're doing. And I make suggestions based on what they have, what they're going, how often they've worn it. And then that piece, so that they don't have to think. They're like, okay, what did Jackie say I had to wear today? Okay, what am I packing? Here's Jackie's suggestions for packing. Now, do they have to know? We all have our own, they can figure out, oh, I like that, but I'm going to do this instead, Jackie, which is perfect because that's what I want. I just want to give those suggestions. But I now have a list of what all they've worn, and then I can rotate things in and out so that they're not looking the same each time. They're not having that uniform look, but they're still having that consistent branded look and that consistent image throughout. So
it's a real art.
Yeah, that's a great, it's a science and an art, isn't it?
Yeah. So my great big passport, I know you guys are giggling. I'm creating, it's called Passport Style Paris. And it's going to be a Passport Style in Paris for a week long of shopping and branding and information and photo ops and branded photo ops and
fun. When are you planning to do that?
Well, it's still a work in progress.
Sure.
I'm working on that, but it is happening.
Yeah, you said it here, so it has to happen.
It's out there.
It's out there. It's been out there.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that one.
So, how does somebody get started working with you? What's the way that they ought to reach out and connect and see if they're a good fit?
Well, I love a coffee. I mean,
right. That's a no-brainer. Yeah. I should have known that.
So they just need to reach out to me and say, I love to have that conversation. If they're too busy for coffee, I do Zoom calls and different things like the conversation, but I want that face-to-face. I feel like, I don't know, I've learned from somebody that relationship building and that face-to-face is super important. So, that's also who I am. So I love just meeting over coffee, kind of getting that idea. And, sometimes I'm not the right fit, but I know people who could work with them, and sometimes we're that absolute perfect fit. So it's better to find out right away than So
very good. And if you could tell us where you are I hope you're on social media. No, just kidding.
Am I?
That was a joke.
I don't know.
You better be. What is your website, and then where do we find you on social?
Okay. Well, the best place to find me, really, because I'm there like all the time, is Facebook. Is my it's the JackieStyle. You'll see my picture. You'll see my logo on there, and it's the very best place to find me. You'll find me on Instagram. I have some YouTube. I'm working on that. That's one of the things that I'm building this next year. While I love radio and podcast concepts, I really am a YouTube kind of, in my industry is an in-face kind of individual. So you can find me on there, and of course LinkedIn. And I have my website, JackieStyle.com. So,
Great.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you again for not only being here and trusting us with your story, but bringing your pals so we can get to know them too.
They're pretty awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Nadia, tell us how we can get a hold of you and what the first steps are in seeing if somebody's a good fit for you as well.
Yeah, you can totally head on over to our website at thedoyenneagency.com. I'm on social as I am Dr. Nadia. And we have a YouTube channel, so lots of videos and trainings at Straight Talk About Sales with Dr. Nadia.
Straight Talk About Sales. I love that. And the Doyenne Agency is THE, of course. D as in dog, OYE, N as in Nancy, N as in Nancy, E, agency.com.
Yep.
All right.
It. Thank
Very
you.
good. Yeah, you bet. And is it as easy as a conversation and just you have enough out there that we can kind of get a feel like, oh, you've given us a lot of rich information.
Yeah.
And now I'm ready to connect and say,
and
I
on
need
that
you to help me.
website, you can schedule a call where we can have a conversation and talk more about, how we can support you and what that next best step is for you.
Great. And a lot of different options and how to work with you, which is
absolutely.
what I've heard throughout the program today. Very good. And Jeanette, where do we find you? And you've already shared where we found your wonderful book, but website and on social.
So, my website is designforalifespan.com. And the 4 is spelled out as FOR, not the letter 4. I am also on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, just about all of the social media. You can either find me under designforalifespan.com. Oh, yeah, Twitter too. And then you can also find me as under my name, Jeanette.
Yeah. And the best way to get started with you is just call and have a phone conversation and just explore kind of what you have to offer.
Yeah. Usually what I find works best is I will talk to the person on the phone. And then a lot of times we will meet in person for coffee and just have a conversation about their project that they're thinking about doing. And we'll see if we're a good fit and see, can I really help them? And a lot of times people, all they really need is just for me to come in, do a consultation and let them know, what's
little tweaks here and there. Yeah.
But I always do over coffee consultations for free. So it costs them nothing but their time.
I love hearing that from each of you because it really is, to Nadia's point, still relationship building. And who's to say that a conversation with you today, may not turn out to be the immediate, we need you to design our home, but certainly referrals. And when that time comes, you're going to be the first and only person they call.
Yeah.
Yeah. If not, hiring you right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a pleasure to be with all three of you today. Thank you for letting me
here.
join and getting connected. Absolutely. You've been listening to Phoenix Business Radio with Business Radio X, broadcasting live from within the Max 6 and Conscious Capitalism Arizona studio. Some media leans left, some lean right, and we lean business. Until next time, I'm Karen Nowicki.